Hey guys, it's SterlingW, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how I fertilize my front and backyard, herb garden, flower beds, as well as my larger trees and stuff. So I get super blooms and a lot of good produce every year. And it's very simple. I just use Miracle-Gro Bloom Booster as well as all-purpose plant food, as well as my Ortho dowel and spray hose end sprayer. Now, this is pretty neat. I'll show you my mixtures and how much I put in there, as well as how I keep my dowel and spray, in use and in service. The reason why is because this is already over 4 years old and it still looks new, and that's probably interesting because I don't use it. Well, you could spray a lot of things with this because it's a dowel and sprayer. That's why I like it. I typically don't spray anything other than fertilizer. So you can see my garden is very diverse. It has many flowers and plants and stuff. There's a lot of bees and everything that goes in my area, so I don't put insecticide or anything with my dowel spray. I also have a lot of fruit trees and stuff that I use Bloom Booster first, when they start off, so that they can start flowering more and have like very much more, fruits on it. The advantage of using the Miracle-Gro water-soluble all-purpose plant food is that I can store it. So I usually buy a large box of the plant food and a smaller box of the Bloom Booster. The Bloom Booster will last me for the beginning of the spring, and then the plant food will basically carry on throughout the rest of the summertime and stuff. So the dowel and spray requires a concentrate solution because it has a little tube that goes down and basically pulls up concentrated liquid. So you can't really just put this in here. You have to actually water it down and make a solution first, and I'll show you that later. It's extremely easy to clean. They actually sell concentrate made for the dowel and spray, but if you bought this dry version, you can make it whenever you want, and it's a lot easier to store in your garage. Now the mixture that they need is 1 tablespoon to 1 gallon of water, which makes it pretty cool. Now for the Bloom Booster as well as the plant food, it's the same amount. It's a little less for plants that are potted, of course. So they actually make a Miracle-Gro garden feeder that does this for you, and you just basically put the entire bag into the container and just let it go and feed that way. But I prefer, but I've already tried that once before, and I prefer using a dowel and spray because, like I said, I can control the amount I put in, and I can store the rest of the dry amount later. So the dowel and spray, as you can see, has a weight, has a small little 32-ounce container, and I basically put half of this thing in. I'll show you a little later. But like I said, it needs to be completely water concentrate before it could be able to suck it through, or spray it. So overall, it's been great because it hasn't stained this bucket over 4 years of use. So as you can see, it's just slightly blue for the top part, but overall it's rusted more than anything else because I didn't let it dry all the way. But as you can see on the bottom, there is a trigger. It's very comfortable to use. There's also a dial on the side that you could measure out how much you want per gallon. For everything from off all the way to 8 ounces to 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, a tablespoon, an ounce, 2 ounces, 5 ounces. I think it goes up to 8 ounces total, but it segments up that way, which is pretty nice. And it also has multiple heads so that you can actually spray like further away. And to take it off, you just scroll it off, and there is a tube and that weight on it. The weight does rust, so do not I'll tell you, basically you have to make sure you dry it before you do it. So let's go ahead and do this and measure this thing out. I'm only going to put half a bag. That's right, half a bag, not the full bag. And I'll tell you why later. And I'll even show you why later because I'll try it with a full bag a little later too. So I'm going to cut the top, and I'm only going to add half the bag in this thing. Now, of course, Miracle-Gro and Bloom Booster and stuff, it does, if you have water moisture or if it gets hot, it does solidify on the bottom of it. So you have to kind of make sure you take half the bag and be careful of how much you're measuring. So I load up about half the bag and then stop. And then I fill it with water. So any water will do. The garden hose water is fine. But I add it all the way to, I think, the 32-ounce marker. And then I have to start, basically stirring. But at the same time, you can see it's pretty dark blue because it's the water soluble solution basically starts melting really quick, and all you do is just stir it. It only takes like a few minutes to stir, and it should dissolve completely in like about a couple of minutes. Now if it's not dissolving completely, it's gonna be super saturated and stuff, and that's probably not good because your measurement is probably going to be a little bit off. So for me, half a bag, and I'm going to dilute this thing. It's actually half the amount, so I'm going to dilute it to 1 ounce per gallon. Why? Because 1 ounce is 2 tablespoons, and we only use half the bag, right? So it asks for 1 tablespoon. I'm only giving it 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon per gallon, roughly 2 tablespoons per gallon, because it's been diluted. But why do I not do the whole bag? Because it's very hard to dissolve. If you did put the whole bag in like this method, you'll see that there's a lot of sediment on the bottom. It's almost like sand on the bottom. It doesn't really dissolve very well. And it's going to skew your measurements and also the amount of fertilizer. So if you did do that, go ahead and just pour in a bigger bucket and just double the size of the mixture. So what I did was that I just stirred as much as I can, poured it into a larger bucket, which is basically that Bloom Booster's carrier. Because they come in bags, so they have like 4 bags in there. But it makes it perfect as a mixing thing. You could use any other pail or whatever. As you can see, there's plenty of sediment there that didn't dissolve. It's because it got super saturated in the solution and just couldn't do it anymore. In fact, the funny thing is that when you keep on mixing a super saturated one, it gets colder and colder. It's kind of interesting. So after you put another 32 ounces in there and just mix it inside that larger container, pour the completely dissolved or quickly dissolved solution into your 32 ounce dial-in spray, hose end sprayer, and then you could basically put the top on and start using it. So just screw on the top. It's very straightforward and simple. You might want to also quickly dial in the settings. So we're going to put in what it's diluted in double, so we're going to put 1 ounce, because that's 2 tablespoons. So 1 ounce setting, that should give you the right amount, but it's a little under than the tablespoon and a half that they want. But it's fine, because this is how I've been doing it for 4 years. Check if there's that washer in that in the garden hose washer, because otherwise it will leak. So after 4 years of doing this, yeah, basically that garden hose washer, it still works, which is great. So anyways, go ahead and tighten it up with your water hose, and you could go ahead and start spraying and feeding your garden. And usually I go for all the plants, the flowering plants. This is like probably like I think I water this only every 14 days or so, pretty much every 2 weeks, when it's in the season where they really start blooming and stuff. So as you can see, some of these plants bloom super early, and they're starting to really use the nutrients to do the bloom booster. Now I do this after about a couple of weeks of this. I basically start using the regular all-purpose, because some of the other plants or herb plants and stuff, they will start wanting the all-purpose one, and bloom booster just gives way too much of I don't know the exact measurements and stuff, but it does. I switch out to other the general one after bloom booster after a couple of weeks. I do like the spray patterns, because if your things are far away, you can spray it further with a jet. There's also a flat spray to shoot a wider area and coverage. As you can see, I have a very eclectic type of plants. That way I could have diversity. And also most of the time I use just the garden spray, the gentle spray one that works for everything. But the diversity of my garden keeps all the bugs away or in check, so it's all good. To clean it, you go ahead and rinse out any of the old ones, and then basically put clean water into the sprayer bottle and just run it through for about a few minutes until all the stuff doesn't turn blue anymore, or just run it until like probably half that thing, and set to like 8 ounces for the flow, or 6 to 8 ounces, so it flows much faster. It'll clean much quicker. Then afterwards, just rinse off the rest of it. And I'm glad how the chemical staining doesn't stick onto my my sprayer. I have to make sure I don't lose that hose end washer. Then I let the whole thing dry for a few hours, so air dry, so that nothing rusts in there. Right? The last thing you want is something to rust. Now here's my guava plant, and it is sprouting so many flowers. Here's my Bogadega, and here's some more. I think these are daisies or something. But anyways, they're flowering, and they just start poofing really quick because of the bloom booster, and then later with the soluble plant solution, that Miracle-Gro stuff. So very, very cool stuff. Anyways, guys, this is SterlingW. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell button for the SterlingW channel if you like this video. Of course, stay tuned for more videos, as well as check out the other videos on the SterlingW channel, like DIYs on how to replace your key fob batteries, or some fun projects like LED lights, adding LED lights to your car or your house. That's really fun. Or Costco finds. I do a lot of Costco finds because I go there pretty much every few days. So if there's any fun deals, I usually post it. And of course, reviews of products I get either at Costco or Amazon or whatever else. And so stay tuned for more. Check it out later. Bye bye.